What is going on, guys? Welcome back. My name is Wolfe Glick and I'm the 2016 Pokemon World Champion, and we are currently in the midst of a series where I walk you guys through some easy, early metagame competitive builds for VGC17 Pokemon, because there's a lot of new Pokemon out, there's a lot of new moves, there's a lot of mechanic changes, and all that information can be super overwhelming, and I'm totally aware of that. So I'm just trying to help you guys out and give you some ideas for a good starting point or some good sets to use if you want to use a Pokemon and you don't know really a lot about it. So right now, we're currently covering some of the Ultra Beasts, and the Ultra Beast that we're covering today is a Pokemon called Xurkitree, which, first of all, this picture doesn't really do it justice, but its design is really cool. It looks awesome. So what do you need to know about Xurkitree? First of all, it's an Ultra Beast, which means that its Beast Boost ability means that when it knocks out a Pokemon, it gets a 1.5 times boost, or a one-stage boost, to its highest stat. And I'll give you a spoiler, Xurkitree's highest stat is almost always going to be its special attack stat. Other important things, it's pure electric type, which means that its only weakness is ground. It gets actually a decent amount of electric type attacks, but not much else other than that. And then stat wise, so it's pretty average across the board, as you can probably see. Middle ground HP, low attack, low defense, really high special attack, and that's kind of the defining feature of this Pokemon. Low special defense and then low to middle range speed. So this is a Pokemon where it's different than Kartana, who, if you're interested in seeing the guide on Kartana, guys, it's up right now, so if you want to learn more about that Ultra Beast, I'll link it in the description down below. But Xurkitree differs from Kartana, whereas Kartana had, similarly, a huge attack stat, but it had, a really decent defense stat, but an especially low HP stat and an especially low special defense stat. So Xurkitree isn't like that. What Xurkitree is, it's kind of below average across the board, except for this huge special attack stat. And despite the fact that, that description might not make it sound, very good or very competitively viable, I think this is one of, the best Ultra Beasts by far, because of its monster special attack stat and its pure electric typing. So, let's jump into the sets. Let's zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see this. Cool. So first set, and we have a lot of sets, guys, so I hope you'll bear with me. First set is pretty straightforward. Protect, Thunderbolt, Tail Glow, and so, guys, because Xurkitree is a really limited move pool, on almost all of these sets you're going to have a hidden power type, and I want to just clarify right away that that hidden power type is going to be really specific on your team. So if your team is weak to Marowak, because, okay, there's a couple classes of Pokemon who Xurkitree doesn't like to fight, and that's ground-type Pokemon, and grass-type Pokemon, and electric-type Pokemon. And I personally am focusing more on ground and grass because those are the biggest ones. So I think most of the time, Hidden Power Ground is a lot better versus Marowak, who isn't ground type, but does it, the Lightning Rod ability means that he is immune to Xurkitree. And so Hidden Power Ground hits him better. You can also use Hidden Power Ice if you're worried about Garchomp, and you can use Hidden Power Poison if you're worried about Tapu Bulu. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way first. Whatever, you don't have to use Hidden Power Ground in the set. Whatever Hidden Power type you think is best for your team, whichever, covers the thing that you're most worried about is good. So, here you can see a modest nature, so it's not boosting a special attack. And these EVs are just, the offensive EVs. The reason I chose modest and not timid is because the Focus Sash increases Xurkitree's survivability a bit, and the extra increase in power actually makes a big difference. So, first of all, Tapu Koko, a Pokemon traditionally, it's electric type, should probably do pretty well versus Xurkitree. But as you can see here, max special attack Xurkitree versus Tapu Koko in electric terrain does 68 to 80%. So that just gives you an idea. This is no boosting item. This is just straight Thunderbolt, not even the strongest move in the game. And Hidden Power Ground is even more than that, doing a 81.3 to 96.5%. So that's a huge amount of damage output from Xurkitree, and just kind of goes to show the huge power. And of course, Tapu Koko isn't that bulky, but Hidden Power also isn't that strong. It's a base 60 power move. So, so yes. I feel like this might be wrong, actually. Why shouldn't... Never mind, guys. I feel like Thunderbolt should be doing more, right? Oh, no, I'm just dumb. I'm dumb. Never mind. Okay, cool. Moving on. This is boosted. So as... Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. So the set here is Thunderbolt, Tail Glow, and Hidden Power Ground. Tail Glow is one of the strongest boosting moves in the game. It boosts the special attack by 3 stages of the Pokemon using it. So I believe that's a 2.5 times boost. Yes, that should be a 2.5 times boost, which is very high. So unfortunately, +3 Hidden Power Ground does not KO Marowak, but it does so much damage that you don't need to OHKO if you can just double into the partner because of Marowak's low speed. So basically, I didn't run the calcs for all the +3 attacks, but you should basically assume if you're hitting something with a +3 Thunderbolt, it's going to be doing a lot of damage. And lastly here, this is max special attack Xurkitree Thunderbolt versus Tapu Lele. One sec. Excuse me. Basically, here's what you need to know. Thunderbolt, even without electric terrain, this is in psychic terrain, is going to 2-hit KO, and Xurkitree should be outspeeding because Tapu Lele normally don't invest in speed, and because of the Focus Sash, you can always survive a Tapu Lele psychic. So, in electric terrain, this is going to do even more, as you can see, up to 93%. But even in psychic terrain, Xurkitree will outspeed and 2-hit KO Tapu Lele, and that's before you get a boost. If you get a boost, That's a lot of damage. Yep, it is. So, that's the Tail Glow set. That's the first set. I want to keep moving because we have a lot of sets to cover. Next up, we have the Life Orb set. This set goes faster because its survivability is lower, but in exchange, and you also drop Tail Glow in favor of Discharge, Thunder, Volt Switch, all those moves, Energy Ball if you're worried about, I don't know, if you're, like Gastrodon, I guess. But yeah, this set drops Tail Glow in favor of Discharge, changes the EVs a bit because of the difference in hidden power type, and uses a Life Orb to boost Xurkitree's offensive power. So here's the first thing that you notice. This is Thunderbolt versus Tapu Lele and Electric Terrain. Max HP, 0 special defense. So this is, you have a Xurkitree on the field, the opponent has Tapu Lele, and you switch in your Tapu Koko to activate Electric Terrain, and all of a sudden you have a 68.8% chance to OHKO. And by the way, this is like, because Xurkitree is an offensive Ultra Beast, if it starts taking KOs, it has like a really big chance to start snowballing, where because of the Beast Boost ability activating and raising its special attack one stage, you're gonna get like a lot more threatening. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea there. Like just huge damage output, and taking advantage of Electric Terrain plus Thunderbolt. Discharge, of course, is good for getting around Lightning Rod, but it's mainly it's primarily due to ground types on the team. So also, if you were interested if you wanted to predict ground on, or a Garchomp switch in, or if you had Tailwind or some other kind of speed control, you could go for Hidden Power Ice. Yeah. Next up, I just wanted to know Life Orb, Hidden Power Ground, because as we saw in, I believe it was this calc, Hidden Power Ground doesn't KO Tapu Koko. Oh, where are we? Hidden Power Ice. This one, yeah. Hidden Power Ground versus Garchomp, or versus Tapu Koko. So now all of a sudden has a very good chance to OHKO, assuming they have no bulk, and assuming they haven't taken any prior damage. So Life Orb basically just ups the damage output quite a bit, and makes Xurkitree like even stronger. And again, like with Life Orb plus 1.5 is just going to do an enormous amount of damage. So I can't see my mouse, so I hope this works. Where are we? I hope this works. Okay, cool. Next up, we have the Choice Scarf set, which is very interesting. Again, taking advantage of Xurkitree's huge special attack stats, so it doesn't need a ton of boost. And also capitalizing just on Volt Switches, like for maneuverability, fast Thunderbolt, I think Hidden Power Ice is actually best on this set because Garchomp will expect to outspeed you, and you can catch them off guard with Hidden Power Ice. Discharge, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. I would like to say that if you pair Xurkitree with a Rain Setter with Pelipper or Politoed, you can in fact use Thunder instead of one of these electric attacks. I personally don't recommend dropping Volt Switch, but either of the other two could be on if you were interested in that, and that will also do a lot of damage. So, with the Choice Scarf set, this is Max Special Attack, Hidden Power Ice versus Garchomp, always going to KO, and this is Thunderbolt versus like pseudo bulky Arcanine, not like bulky, but in Electric Terrain. So obviously you don't even need a boosting item if you have Electric Terrain up and the Arcanine isn't that bulky to OHKO. So of course, like Arcanine will probably run more bulk. Like this isn't always gonna KO, but even still, even with max HP Arcanine, you have a really good chance to OHKO in Electric Terrain. So that does require, of course, that Electric Terrain is on the field, but that shouldn't be too hard to set up. Just like a general note, I know I've said a lot already, and I'm trying not to take too much time, but the way that I personally picture Xurkitree being played is kind of like all the benefits of Tapu Koko in Electric Terrain without actually having Electric Terrain on the field. So basically, if you have Tapu Koko on the field and like you're trying to use its like Electric Terrain to boost its electric type attacks, the opponent can always kind of be a step ahead because they can always have their terrain setter in the back, assuming they don't have Tapu Koko, and they can just switch it in to negate your electric type boost. And then because Tapu Koko doesn't have like the best stats, it really mitigates your damage output. So the idea with Xurkitree is to get that like big electric type like boost to be able to threaten all this damage output, but instead of like losing when the opponent switches in your terrain, now you have a terrain in the back. So it's kind of like you get a second Tapu Koko that functions a little bit differently, but keeps the same general idea of offense. Specs, Scarf. Did we cover Specs? We didn't cover Specs, did we? Yes. Okay. Basically, this is just the Choice Spec set. I'm missing a window, so we're gonna have to go back to this one. But yeah. Okay. Choice Spec set. Basically, same idea. Basically a lot. Here's the idea. Xurkitree is already super strong. You give it a Choice Specs, and then you pair that with Electric Terrain. So even without Electric Terrain, you can see you're doing a launch of Tapu Lele. You add Electric Terrain to that, and you're going to KO everything. And once you get one KO, you get a 1.5 times boost, which I've mentioned before, but it's like really important here. And it just becomes, it makes Xurkitree incredibly problematic. So this is a good set to pair with some Fake Out or Redirection or other support, potentially Intimidate depending on the opponent's team and other stuff like that. Because if it snowballs, you're going to win the game if you can just keep launching strong attacks. And the thing is, Electric is actually a pretty decent offensive typing, especially when you consider something like this, where this is Thunderbolt versus Tapu Bulu, traditionally thought of as like a good electric type switch in, and in Electric Terrain, as you can see, you're doing 70 to 81%. Even in grassy terrain, you're doing not a 2-hit KO because of the recovery, but you're doing a lot of damage. So that's kind of the general idea there. If you're running Hidden Power Ice in the set, you can see that's also doing a lot of damage. So Xurkitree is just a monster. This is Timid, right? No, this is Modest, so this should be, sorry, these numbers are a little bit off, because you should be running Timid, I think, on your choice spec set. And the last set, guys, I don't have any calcs to show you, but I just thought it was interesting, was Protect, Thunderbolt, Discharge, Hidden Power, Ground with Air Balloon. So the idea here is, and this might be Hidden Power Ice, actually, I think this should be Hidden Power Ice, my bad. The idea here is, you pair this Xurkitree set with a ground type Earthquake user, and you just get a really strong Disquake combination off. So Disquake is Discharge plus Earthquake. It's really strong, it's really hard to stop, and Air Balloon lets you get flexibility with Protect. Even if your Air Balloon's broken, you can still Protect to shield yourself from Earthquake. Nothing wants to switch into Discharge plus Earthquake except for a few Pokemon, but those Pokemon like aren't super common. Like Landorus is one of them, but Landorus isn't even legal. So that's pretty much that. And so in terms of partners, I just want to really quickly, forgot one down here. It should be Pelipper. Cool. So like I said, you want, basically with a lot of the Xurkitree sets, as you probably saw, they had Discharge on them. So you want Pokemon immune to Discharge. So Garchomp and Crocodile are two of the best ground type Pokemon in the format. They both get access to Earthquake. They both pair very well with the Air Balloon set, in my opinion. So that's really, really good. I add Politoed and Pelipper here because these are both Drizzle users. They are the only Drizzle users in the format, unless Wingull gets Drizzle, but they're the best Drizzle users in the format, in my opinion. Pelipper can also set Tailwind, which with Xurkitree, so you can use like Pelipper with like Protect, I don't know, Tailwind, and like Hurricane and Scald. Get Scald, nice. And then so you like basically you could use Pelipper to get the speed advantage with Xurkitree and use like a Life Orb set or the Tail Glow set, but probably the Life Orb set, and then you could use Rain to boost Xurkitree's Thunder accuracy, and then Thunder's already such a hugely strong move that it is gonna do a lot of damage to anything. And you can always have Tapu Koko in the back if you want to boost Thunder even more, and with Life Orb it's gonna be doing a lot of damage. Politoed is also a Rain user, but Pelipper's probably better. It's just that its stats are worse, like pretty significantly worse. So if you can find a way to use Pelipper to protect your Xurkitree, that's really great. If not, maybe Politoed is better if you want that Rain option. Next up, we have Marowak for being, again, immune to electric type attacks. I think that's really, really important here. The thing you have to watch out with Marowak is that it does have Lightning Rod, so if you have Marowak, you'll have to be using Discharge while it's on the field, because otherwise your Thunderbolt or Thunder will redirect into Marowak's Lightning Rod. So don't do that, because I think some players might have used like an electric type attack when their partner had Thunder Wave before. Maybe Thunder Wave or Bronzong, Klefki. I don't really remember. Yeah, but I'm sure it's happened before. I mean, probably like nobody good has made the mistake, but maybe some noobs. Anyway, this Marowak set you can see is a bit more fleshed in. If you're interested in watching the video to learn more about this Marowak set, what the EVs do, what the moves, like why the moves are chosen, what partners to pair it with, etc., etc. This is like from another guide of mine on Marowak. I will link it in the description down below. If you're interested, please check it out. I think it's really interesting. Marowak's a really cool Pokemon. But yeah, Marowak pairs really well here. It's like one of the strongest physical attackers in the format, paired with Xurkitree, which is one of the strongest special attackers in the format. Their typing complements each other well. Marowak kind of is like a pseudo Disquake, because even though you don't have Earthquake, Boomerang is a single target move, and so you could pair this Marowak with a Choice Specs or a Choice Scarf of Xurkitree and not have to worry about it. And the last Pokemon that I recommend you pair Xurkitree with is Tapu Koko. You can use different Tapu Koko sets. You don't have to use this one. This is, again, a set taken from my Tapu Koko guide, which is currently up on my channel. I will link it in the description down below. If you're interested, please check it out. Basically, I've mentioned Electric Surge ability like a lot throughout this video. I think you guys understand that it's really, really, really important to pair Xurkitree with Electric Surge, just because of the boost that it gives Xurkitree, and that boost makes him do a lot more damage. So it doesn't have to be this Tapu Koko set. You can experiment with others. There are other, if you want other suggestions for Tapu Koko sets to run with Xurkitree, that is again in the video that I will link down below on Tapu Koko. Who's a really cool Pokemon, by the way, just in general. Yes, but this video's gone a little longer because I did more Xurkitree sets than I have done of the other Pokemon, so I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up here. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you have suggestions for the Pokemon you want me to cover next, please leave it in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.